We are all going to be hearing an enormous amount about campaigns and candidates between now and Election Day. But what really goes on inside campaigns? Chris Potholm likely knows as much about the inner workings of campaigns as just about anyone in Maine. He was a professor of government at Bowdoin College for 51 years. But he also worked as a political consultant and campaign manager in many races in Maine and beyond, races involving both candidates and referendums. Chris Potholm's latest book is How Maine Decides, an insider's guide to how ballot measures are won and lost. It's funny, illuminating, a look at the good and the bad, the noble and the outrageous, with special attention paid to the political consultants. I think if we were to do a poll, and you're a big fan of polling, and ask Maine voters what they think of political consultants, they would rank above cockroaches, maybe below used car salesmen, and yet you love political consultants. You dedicate the book to the political consultants of Maine. Why do you have such affection for these folks?
Well, when I was a young person, I saw High Noon.
High Noon, a classic American Western. It's about a marshal facing danger alone with no help from fearful townspeople.
Every consult, they give you a town, you're supposed to protect it or destroy it. You put the gun on, you go in and you do it. There's something, you're the kind of lone actor that in our own minds, we make a big difference.
After working on many campaigns in Maine, Potholm pinpointed certain groups of voters he felt held the key to victory or defeat. He believes the most crucial of those blocks is Franco-Americans.
In 40 years, I never won a referendum that I didn't get a majority of get most of the Franco-American vote, and I never lost one if I had them, and I never won one if I didn't have it.
You say in a humorous way, but also in a serious way, that in a lot of Maine campaigns, the most effective spokespeople, the most effective spokesperson that one could put out would be a registered Maine guide.
Whether or not it's deserved, I don't know, but there's an almost mythic quality to Maine guides and game wardens. I mean, think about it, 21st century, and we still have a moose hunt, and twice we've said, let's keep the bear hunt. That's terribly important. Well, those are the authority figures that said, we need it.
You make the point that on ballot issues, there's a larger chunk of voters who haven't made up their minds, who are undecided, and that it's in some ways easier to work on referendums because you can then try to persuade those folks.
Oh, a referendum from a consultant's point of view is 10 times better, 10 times easier. You have more control, and you don't have the candidate's husband or wife or friends or neighbors. Well, I don't know, they didn't like the commercial. This. The book is just filled with the agony of a candidate dragging in some friend or relative, and he didn't like the commercial. Well, this is too bad. We didn't make it for him. We made it for the Franco Memes in Lewiston and Bedford. We didn't make it for him.
One of the features of contemporary politics that depresses Potholm is the way some political groups or candidates try to suppress the vote by making it more difficult for some people to cast a ballot.
In all of the campaign meetings I went to over those 40 years, I never heard one person, Republican, Democrat, or Independent, say, oh, let's hope they don't vote. Let's keep them from voting. It's so undemocratic. And that's an element where you throw that out, and 40% of the American people say, oh no, if we can keep them from voting, we're going to win. So winning supersedes democracy, and that's what frightens me.
In the book, when you talk about politics now, you refer to it several times as crazy town. What do you make of politics these days?
I am so sad for our country. I am at such a low point in when I see the political discourse and the number of really strange, weird things that people, the moon is not made of green cheese. I don't care who says it or how often they say it. 2 + 2 does not equal 7. But there is a level of irrationality here that, quite frankly, as a historian, it reminds me of Germany in 1933 or Italy in 1923, when the reality is just unhinged. It's just separated from what is true. and then you add all of the stuff on the internet. I mean, it's a crazy world, Rob. So the crazy town does seem to fit for me.
Over the last 5 decades or so, Mainers have voted on a number of major referendums. They have dealt with such things as whether to close the Maine Yankee nuclear plant, whether to legalize gay marriage, whether to ban bear hunting. A political consultant quoted in Chris Potholm's book says if the legislature did its job, there wouldn't be a need for referendums. And again, the name of Chris Potholm's new book is How Maine Decides.